call the meeting of the M.S.A.D 49th Board of School Directors to order. Roll call, please.
Wooten,
Here.
Boyden,
Here.
Haverly,
Here.
Chesley, Dumont,
Here.
Fleck-Giroux,
Here.
Knox,
Here.
Engelmeyer,
Unable to make it, or will be late.
Liberty, Martin,
Here.
Nishu,
Unable to make it.
Rednicki,
Here.
Toto Lawrence,
Here.
and Stephen Kersey.
Okay, can we, let's have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's in a minute. Okay, approval of minutes.
So moved.
Second. Okay, I have a motion by Tim, seconded by Danielle, for approval of the minutes for the October 18th, 2018 board meeting. Any discussion? All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Opposed? Abstain. 1, 2, 7, 0, 2. Okay. Citizens input. This is the time of the meeting that if there are any citizens present that have anything to discuss with the board, they're more than welcome to do so at this time. Anybody? All right. Seeing none, we'll move on for that. I'll also take this time to remind everybody that it is that time of year that we are always collecting things for the different schools. We'll start with Box Top for Educations is still an ongoing collection, and Hannaford Dollars, I believe, is still ongoing for a short period longer. And I know that our elementaries can use some mittens and clothes and any of those things. And we want to, certainly want to thank Tim for organizing a turkey drive for all of our schools. And we had a request for 114 turkeys, and it's and stuff, and we've got
114. Wow.
100, and it looks
started
like
at
that we've
100.
got it taken care of. So I think I want to thank everyone that helped out with that, and thank you, Tim. That was a great job for that. So appreciate that. Keep in mind that we're getting to that time of year too, that I know that Christmas is for Teens is coming up, that we work with our high school and elementary for that. I mean, our high school and middle school for the Christmas is for Teens, and then our elementary schools do their trees. Thank you. So, and because of the way our schedule is, so keep those things in mind if you'd like to donate. I'm sure everybody would appreciate that. Does anybody else have anything from the board members to say at this point? Okay, let's go on to old business. Youth Homelessness Initiative of United Way of Maine Education Community Impact Team Grant.
Yes, and I believe you received a copy of this award from United Way. United Way of Maine has been very generous to our schools and have been for many, many years. In fact, we opened the year accepting from them school supplies, paper, pencils, and they delivered, I'd say, 40 or 50 backpacks for children that are distributed among students in the district. That the counselors might have some awareness of need. Sometimes parents will contact the school in the summer and request supplies if they're not able to provide them for the children. But this particular grant is for $700. It's available to all the schools, and it's an amount I expect that we will spend through at a quicker pace, I think, than we have in the past. Currently, we have 28 homeless students identified in the district for various reasons, and about this time of year, that number tends to start to climb as other costs hit families, like heating homes. It's just a change in expenses. There are a number of reasons that cause homelessness, or oftentimes we have unaccompanied youth, which is part of that protected class, and those tend to be high school age students. But anyway, the way the system works is our point people notify the principals to communicate with their counselors who identify students, have a conversation with the students and the families, and identify their need. And I know that our counselors have done some shopping for them, and it's a very touching thing to be able to provide that for children. If you refer to the letter, there is a line in here about assistance to help support their continued participation in school success, and part of fully participating in school is being comfortable when you're in school, and that's having clothing that fits you and being clean yourself. So these funds and some other funds that we have through grants provide that. Counselors work to provide the clothing, but launder clothing for students if it's required, setting them up in some of our facilities with discretion and preserving their dignity. But comments passed on is just they feel really good about being able to just be among kids and participate in school. So it's vital, and it's an amount of money that we're able to, if we spend down on it, that we can apply for some more funds. And I know that we have many things going on that you mentioned that Tim has worked on as far as food insecurity, but it's all part of meeting these needs for this very vulnerable group. So we thank the United Way.
Thanks.
Thank you. New business. Oh, sorry. We're actually going to do it under climate report. No, we're actually going to do it under school climate report instead. Thank you, Sean. So, new business. M.S.A.D 49 Board of School Directors will vote to authorize the superintendent to offer co-curricular positions to the following. Elon Firmage, freshman basketball coach for $36.96. Gordon Small, Lawrence High School ice hockey head coach, $4,200. TJ Hebert, Lawrence High School indoor track assistant coach, $25.20. Peter Spears, Lawrence High School indoor track assistant coach, $27.72. Tim Alberts, Lawrence High School indoor track head coach, $50.40. Tim Robinson, Lawrence High School JV boys basketball coach, $27.72. Joe Higgins, Lawrence High School JV girls basketball coach, $25.20. Jason Pellerin, Lawrence High School varsity boys basketball coach, $46.20. Greg Chesley, Lawrence High School varsity girls basketball coach, $5,040. Corey Whited, Lawrence High School winter cheering head coach, $33.60. Jordan Nicholas, Lawrence Junior High School 7th grade boys basketball coach, $22.40. Mike McGee, Lawrence Junior High School 7th grade girls basketball coach, $29.12. Joey Marcoux, Lawrence Junior High School 8th grade girls basketball coach, $29.12. Sean Combs, Lawrence Junior High School 8th grade boys basketball coach, $22.40. Emma Harrison, Lawrence Junior High School winter cheering head coach, $11.20. Do I have a motion on the board?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Tim, seconded by Neil. Any discussion? All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Opposed? Abstain. 8-0-1. Standing committee reports. Let's start with educational programs. Tim
Well, we had our first meeting, and you guys have your packets, so basically everything that we discussed is in those packets. We talked about virtual high school, and Dr. Nyman is certified with virtual high school, and he'll be running that program. Currently, we're piggybacking off from RSU 18. I think we've talked about this already prior to. So we would just get familiar with virtual high school. So that's our report on that. And then we talked about our district goals for district professional development standards and plan. That was most of our discussion. And Dr. Nyman's got a great plan on how we're gonna move forward with our professional development. That's my report.
Okay, report from finance and facilities, Sean.
Yes, we had our first meeting. Most of what we talked about was the calendar for the budget for next year, the upcoming budget. It's in the packet. It kind of provides a little bit more detail than what we've had in years past as far as what's going to be happening before the actual budget. We actually see the budget, but it shows the dates and things like that. Some of the dates may change around a little bit, but I think it's a pretty good draft right now. One item on here on the list here is the development of the new site-based account numbers. So that's going to change the budget around a little bit this year. As far as it's going to provide a little bit more detail in the line items. So the detailed budget is going to be quite a bit bigger. There's going to be more information as far as where items are getting charged to, whatnot. And then I think the third thing was we discussed the request to purchase 3 new buses. And we need a vote on that tonight because there's a deadline to submit that to the state. And how that works basically is we submit to request 3 new buses, and then in around February they say how many buses are going to get approved, how many buses we can actually receive, and then we can decide whether or not we actually want to purchase all 3 buses or what we want to do.
So basically then that's what we're looking for right now is we need a motion.
Make a motion, we purchase 3 new school buses.
Second.
Okay, moved by Tim and seconded by Neil to purchase 3 new school buses. Yes.
Can we amend the motion that we're requesting approval from the state to purchase 3 new school buses?
Yes, I'll make that amendment.
Okay. All right, so we'll amend that motion to,
The request.
okay. So we're gonna amend that motion that we are, the motion is to request the purchase of 3 new school buses from the state. Okay. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor? 9, 0, 0. Next up is policy and planning. And in your packets, let's see, Caroline, I know you weren't prepared for this, but can you you were at that meeting, right? Okay. If you can just give if there's anything specific we need to, or a motion for the first reading on that, if there's any. So, you want to just give a policy, the 2 policies you went over, a real brief?
Yeah, we did go over them, we did make some corrections, unfortunately, my notes are at home. So, I think if you wanna go through it first.
Well, we made a correction on the attached in your
Okay,
packet.
okay.
So the corrections are made in your packet.
Okay. So then, is it the recommendation of the policy committee to do the first reading, Caroline?
Sure, yep.
Okay. Does anybody, did everybody get the 2 policies in their packet? And for the first reading, The motion would be a vote to approve the child sexual abuse prevention and response policy, which is JLFA. Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Second.
All right, so moved by Sean, seconded by Danielle. All right, discussion. If everybody had received them, did anybody have any questions or concerns on those two policies? Jenny?
What was the nature of the changes?
In your, it would have been in your,
It's not done as a strike through or anything, so we
Yeah.
can't identify what the changes are.
well,
I think we, was there some language changes, Roberta, do you know?
I did not.
John, do you remember?
And the child sexual abuse one, there was no language change,
Okay,
as far as I'm concerned.
all right, so no language change on that one. So that's just an update to the policy?
It's a new policy.
Yeah.
It's a new requirement, so we don't have an existing one.
Okay, it's a new required policy, and the committee has moved it forward.
I think I do recall that the state policy had some language, and our policy wanted to be aligned to it exactly, so we're wording in line to that.
Okay,
That's what we did at the time, right?
okay. All right. And this is the first reading, so all those in favor? 8, 9, 0, 0. The next item that the policy committee went over is the student wellness policy, and it is policy JL. And that again is in your packet.
I got something different. Oh, where's it?
Did you
Okay.
find it back so they get mixed?
All right.
Yeah.
I knew I saw
We're
it.
trying to save paper, you know?
There's another one in here too, or something. JLCB
See,
or
it's all
something.
messed up, sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good.
Okay, so, on the student wellness, I need a motion to accept the first reading of the student wellness policy. And that is put forth by the policy committee, and that came out of committee, so I need a motion for that.
I'll make the motion.
Moved by Danielle to accept it, and seconded by Neil. Now, the motion is to accept policy JL, the student wellness policy. It's been moved by Danielle, seconded by Neil. Discussion.
I guess I have a question.
Okay.
Is that under the food and beverages for celebrations and rewards, the school board delegates to the superintendent designees? Okay, so I guess my question is, who's the designees? Because that just seems like a lot of going to the superintendent to ask him if the school's Valentine's Day party can have its cookies. I mean, it seems a little
The principals?
overkill.
I think it's.
So-
Go ahead, sorry.
Roberto, you're in charge of cookies?
Oh, wait. I'm a
Principals.
designee for some things, yes, so.
Okay, I mean, I think it's a great thing. I just feel like I would like my superintendent to be in charge of stronger, and my assistant
Well,
superintendent
It
of
would typically be,
bigger choices.
I think principal.
Yeah, I think the opportunity.
How about teachers? The teachers.
I think,
I just,
It
and I know
says-
it's a small point, but I just, I really feel that, as our superintendent, your leadership is valued in us.
I think that policy, yeah, sure, that policy was copied, I think,
It
what was recommended to us. So we're happy to change the language. I think we, at no point we said, let's do it that way.
Yeah.
We just took a recommendation from the state.
MSA.
Yeah, we took it from the
Oh.
M.S.A.D. But we're happy to change it, we can just do that if you like.
Okay, well, and I realize it's a very trivial
Sure.
point, but I just think, you know, as
No.
hierarchies go, and,
Sure.
you know, your first grade teacher wants to have candy.
So we will
or
change it and just say
donuts.
superintendent, to
No.
check the designee out, right?
No,
Right,
he wants
yeah.
it.
I wanted to say
No,
two-
no, she
no.
wants it the other way.
Teachers, I want like teachers to
Oh,
be
I
able to
thought
decide
you wanna give it to me, the
snacks.
power.
No, I don't want you to have to decide
Oh, I
the
thought you were
snacks.
giving
That's
all
why
the
I
power.
think the designee part of it is, he has already designated that. I think
Yeah.
that's what
So
it
you
is
wanna
by
know
designee.
specifically who's
No, I
designated?
just wanted to say, like, let teachers decide if the snacks are appropriate. That was it, that's all I was.
How about the school council, because every school.
And I think,
No concept,
Okay.
just,
All right.
you just
just, I
say
think,
snacks.
I think just leaving it as designee, and then he already says it's either the principals or the teachers anyway, by having superintendent slash designee takes that into consideration.
Okay.
It's not, he's not gonna
it's
make
not a-
those,
Something worth, arguing, I just,
No,
you
no,
know,
no, it's a
I
good
just.
point.
right, yeah, I don't think he's gonna make that decision.
I
I think
couldn't-
that's like,
Yeah.
And we'll take whatever the M.S.A.D recommended to say, but the point is well taken, so I think if there's any, we see any issue, we'll come back to you and we may change it then.
Okay, yeah, no, it's a very small point, I
Okay.
just don't want your time being.
No, I appreciate it, no.
Snacks.
No, I'd like to be supervising snacks.
Does that
I
limit
got a
us?
ham,
I mean, it sends us to a government website on smart snacks.
yes,
It's a law,
it's a law, but.
it's governed by
That's
the,
the law.
yeah, it's governed by USDA.
So I can't show
Oh,
up with
Hillman's.
Hillman's for the whole school. huh?
Because, I mean, if I'm supervising the snacks,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have,
What's that?
As long as you don't get caught.
Well, what's the fine? Because I might just do it and push the limit.
Latest one.
Just 10 grand? All right. It's worth
Thank you.
it.
all right.
But if it also ends up funding, which is $1 million.
thank you.
Any further discussion on
So
that?
is that the Michelle Obama rule?
Yeah.
Yes.
It used to be.
So we need to write to Trump and get rid of that rule.
Right.
That's crazy. It's just not, I mean, I think parents should have a little more control over what the children eat.
All right,
That's not right, guys. I don't like that at all.
okay, so was there any further discussion on that? Is everybody okay leaving it as the designee, superintendent slash designee? So he basically decides who it is, whether it's teachers or, that's up to the superintendent. As the designee means, is for that part of it, so.
That's
What if we don't have that clause in there?
I don't think we can leave it out, can we? We can't leave it out.
We take it back to the policy committee and we can discuss more on that.
Do you want us to take it back to the policy
I'll take
committee?
it to the state. I don't like it.
Well, we can change it later.
Teachers be in charge of cookies.
A condition on the grant award that we receive for
Yes.
nutrition.
Right.
So if we choose not to comply with that, we will
Yes.
lose the federal.
It's okay.
I
We
would
do.
say we leave it for now, and then
Yeah,
if we want to
like
change
you
it
said,
later.
it's not a.
Okay,
Okay.
so let's move, so we have a motion on the floor, so all, to approve, for the first reading of, JL, the student wellness policy. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9, 0, 0. All right. Next up is superintendent's report.
As you know, we wanted to get ready for our presentation. So we want to do a brief culture climate report, if you don't mind. So if you may start with Albion. We're trying to,
Are we supposed to do this?
yep,
Yes, we're doing it
Under
under
the culture and climate, under the, okay.
Recently, a group of teachers and myself attended the statewide PBIS conference in Augusta. And it was a very enlightening conference. The keynote, Steve Goodman, spoke about the need to integrate RTI and PBIS. In the past years, in our elementary schools, response to intervention was the focus for helping students that had difficulties with academics. And while we talked about the whole child in Fairfield and Albion, we really didn't have the different ideas and layers to help students with behaviors. And as the keynote spoke to us about, in many cases when students exhibit behavior, sometimes that work avoidance can be because of academics. So it's an overlapping kind of need.
So the keynote was came at a very great time for us, and all of the staff that were with us at the conference attended different concurrent workshops, and we're going to have them bring back what they've learned from that workshop to our staff meetings in Fairfield and Albion in the coming weeks. We also attended a state training on the mandatory prevention for abuse, which was a train the trainers model. The guidance counselors, myself, and a few key staff members from Albion and Fairfield attended. And that was a very difficult thing to listen to because of the topic, but a very important thing for us to know about so we can keep our children safe. One of the things that I put in your packet was the website childsafetypartnership.org. So parents in our community, our board, and our staff can look to that website for answers to questions that we have, to know how to direct our conversations with children, and also to be able to prevent when we see things that don't seem right. Recently, on November 9th, our guidance counselors did a training for all of our elementary staff at the start of the day, the professional day. And so all of our elementary teachers have heard about this training and have been trained. After that time, we had Courtney Angela Sante, who is the PBIS state trainer that we contacted earlier in the year for our October 4th training. She worked with the teachers on classroom management and helped them develop a behavior matrix for their classroom that's positive and very fully focused and directed, which will also help with those things that I talked about when I began speaking about having an RTI and PBIS being integrated. I also would like to say thanks to Dr. Naiman's responsiveness and support. He really did pull through and help us apply for a statewide grant for PBIS, which was one of the reasons why we looked to the state trainers to bring in training for our elementary teachers, because there were some competitive grants, and Dr. Naiman helped us to apply for that grant. It's a multi-year grant that will provide professional development and different kinds of layers of support and coaching for our schools. So we don't know yet completely if we'll receive it, but it's going to offer us probably at least 3 years of support, and so thank you very much, Dr. Naiman.
Thank you.
Also, just getting ready for Thanksgiving, Fairfield Primary did a collection for the food pantry and walked their gifts down to the loaves and fishes, to the Fairfield Food Pantry. And Albion, we did a collection for the loaves and fishes pantry. And so thank you and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Benton?
And likewise, we were able to participate in that PBIS training. That's exciting. Our teachers are very excited about that. I think it's going to make a very positive impact on our school culture. I'd like to quickly highlight a few things. Halloween, we did pajamas for a cause, and our students wore pajamas, and we asked them to bring some sort of donation and to help some of those students in need. That number of homeless students in our district is quite staggering. We were able to raise $1,466, which was just fantastic, and that money is going directly to our students in need, and our guidance counselors have been working with myself and Mrs. Blaze to do that, so it's been much appreciated. And we also are supporting the food pantry. Our student council is running a Benton Holiday food drive, so we set a goal each year. This year we set a goal for 2018 food items, and we are going to be dropping, we're supposed to do it tomorrow, but we're just gonna wait, and we're gonna drop it off on Monday. And I don't know what our final number is. We're collecting through today, so I don't know what the final count. Our robotics team, they've been practicing every single day after school. As I was leaving this evening, they were wrapping up another practice, and I think they're going to practice tomorrow if they can. They have our pre-qualifying tournaments for the states in J on Saturday, so they're leaving with the junior high first thing, I think 6:30 in the morning on Saturday, and so it's a great day. It's it's just a fun event. So 10 students are going to be competing, and then the rest of the team, we have about 27, I think, students. The rest are going to be kind of supporting the team throughout the day. And we did participate in the statewide mock election, and the results we did post on our Facebook page. So there's some interesting results which align pretty much with the state results. And finally, we did our balloon launch, and I'd like to thank Ms. Dumont she kind of helped coordinate that with a professor from UMO. And so on October 30th, and we had to wait for the perfect weather. The balloon was it's a high altitude balloon. It goes up to, I think, 200 miles away. And then they have to retrieve it after. And of course, they don't want it to go out to the ocean. We turned into a school-wide event. Each grade level conducted an experiment, and then it actually went up. The balloon brought it up about 111,000 feet in the air, and then they're going to investigate basically what changes they can see in what they sent up in the balloon. So it was a great experience. I'd like to thank Connie Taryn. She was a point person and coordinated kind of with all the teachers, and it was just a great experience. Kids were excited, and it was just very fortunate to be able to participate in that this year. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. And Ms. Gordon is out, so you have her report in your packet. If you could do, Sean?
Just kind of give a brief overview. This year, I've been lucky enough to partner with Mid-Maine Tech, with some of our 8th graders, about 10 to 12 of them, and to get them over to Mid-Maine Tech to explore some careers. That's all funded by Mid-Maine Tech. They send the bus over and take our 8th graders, like I said, 10 to 12 of them over there, and they shadow one of the students. They each have a student shadow. They stay there for about an hour, and they come back. So it gets them in the frame of mind to start exploring their careers as they start heading towards a high school and beyond high school. The next article we have is the Green Monsters. We're doing some recycling. That's ongoing throughout the year. We have a bunch of kids just going through the halls. They have protective gloves on, and they collect all the cardboard, the paper, and they put them in the appropriate bin, and they get recycled. The next item we have took place near Halloween, but the ghosts of scientists past, looking at Charles Darwin, Henry Moseley, Sir Isaac Newton, just to name a few, and they made headstones to celebrate the scientists and their findings and their inventions, just to get the kids involved in figuring out or finding out new scientists they may not have heard of. Tomorrow night is supposed to be the advanced art paint night, but as you see, there's some samples of the lighthouse scene that they did for examples to be used at paint night for those who would come, and this would benefit our advanced art class for their trip to Boston. But again, that's also weather pending. And the final page, Mr. Mayhew, our woodshop teacher, we have some Pledge of Allegiance posters around the building that needed some dressing up, so he made some wood frames to go around the Pledge of Allegiance. We have one in the office, the library, and they look very nice. He did a great job. And finally, around election time, Miss Patterson's 7th and 8th grade social studies classes took part in their mock elections, and as you see on the board, as of that point, they were 100% correct with all of them. And as of today, totally 100% correct with all of the gubernatorial, the Senate, the House of Reps, and the bond questions. So I guess as Lawrence Junior High School goes, so goes the state of Maine. So that did my report.
Thank you. And our student rep, and Mark, if I could, do it together.
Go ahead.
Okay, so there are 2 different packets with pictures and writings that we're going to pass around that's going to detail one of the things that I'm going to discuss. Lawrence High School was chosen by the Visual and Performing Arts Specialists at the Maine Department of Education to be the school to represent the state in a project in which they decorated Christmas tree ornaments that represented what they thought that the state of Maine was about. These ornaments are going to be shipped off to DC for the 2018 National Christmas Tree Lighting. This happened on October 23rd this year. The students could use almost any materials in the art room, and the size of the ornament was about the size of a grapefruit, and they could be opened up so that they could build things, decorate it, and then put it together again. They had very high expectations for what they wanted to complete in the class. It was a class filled of Art 1 students, past students in the art room, and art students that Miss B, the high school art teacher, had decided would be excellent students to partake in that activity. The students felt more than a sense of just being in a classroom when they did these, because they had an in-classroom field trip where they spent the entire day in the art room decorating, listening to Christmas music and watching movies on the TV. They had some snacks, and they all said that since Christmas is a time for family and fun, they really embodied that in the classroom that day. And they thought it was more than just the ornament making. It was the act of being together with classmates that they got the chance to know better. They were sharing ideas and helping each other. Those who were more experienced showed the others how to do certain aspects of things. Her students would like to thank Miss B and Mr. Campbell for giving them the awesome opportunity for the indoor field trip and to be able to participate in such a high honor for our school. And then a quick co-curricular report for athletics. The Lawrence High School football team, after beating Skowhegan on both sides of the ball, will be facing Brunswick, which they had already faced. And last Friday, or it might have been 2 Fridays ago now, Lawrence went to Skowhegan and as underdogs soundly defeated the Indians 41-18. The team then went on to play in Northern Maines, but sadly lost after a close game where the players all played greatly, 14-10. Some non-athletics. Lawrence competed in the MBDA Marching Band Finals on Friday, October 26th at Westbrook High School, and the competition was initially going to be held on that Saturday, but because of an impending storm, it got moved up to Friday. So students left school early and competed and did their best. Lawrence performed their best and strongest performance all season, in which they received silver ratings in almost every category with the exception of a gold rating in percussion. Their overall rating was a silver medal, and the students were very proud of their performance and results.
Thank you.
So the only thing I would add, I talked about the JMG mock interviews that occurred in this room a week ago, and it was fun to watch the kids. They presented people from area businesses, a couple of representatives from military forces, and they presented their resumes, and the people doing the interviews were able to adapt what the students were interested to the questions that they had to ask. And it was a great experience. You could see the kids getting nervous right at the beginning, just like we would as adults when we were doing for an interview. But as the interview went along and they felt more comfortable, they were more at ease. Students had partners, and the partners would score them on how well they did. And as they moved around, they got to score each other throughout the day. The other thing that happened here today, and the Red Cross representative here personally sought me out to thank Lawrence High School. JMD also did a blood drive today, and the need for blood donations is critical, and so they were so appreciative of the Lawrence High School community for getting out and getting folks coming from communities to donate as well as students here at the school. So I'll get the numbers to you at the next report.
Thank you very much. And my personnel report actually talks about, Roberta and I attended the JMG student mock interviews that really was in this room at November 7th from 1 to 2:15. So we just want to say how we impressed what took place here and thank them for it. You have a financial report and enrollment report. I do want to add thank to Chief Police for Fairfield for his generous donations to us, all the goods they donated to us, as well as a donation by New Balance for 113 pieces of a New Balance apparel, 82 pairs of New Balance shoes, and with the estimated total price of around $6,670 to a Bulldog closet. So I just want to express that thanks to them as well, and that is my report.
Thank you. Okay. Other business. It's conflict of interest statements. Basically, there's no motion necessary on this, just to read down through it. Danielle Booton, Literacy Volunteers, Waterville Area. Friends of Messalonsky Watershed. Jenny Boynton, Health Reach Community Health Centers. Neil Caverly Farms LLC. Katrina Dumont, Personality Tees Hairstylist. Katie Fledgerow, let's get ready.
And also Somerset Career and Tech.
Okay, hold on, what was that? It's Somerset?
Somerset Career and Tech Center.
Okay, Somerset Career and Tech.
M.S.A.D 54.
Okay.
That might be easier to spell.
Thank you.
Tech Center, okay, thank you. Sean Knox, it's MESTech and FormTech, I think, okay. Kara Kugelmeyer is Colby College. Caroline Toto Lawrence, there is a correction there, it is Caring Hands LLC. Timothy Martin, Cornerstone Insurance, Knockerball, Maine LLC, and Benton Family Fun Park. And Shelley Rudnicki, Shelley's Used Cars, and Maine State Legislator-elect.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And other business. Before we go too far and take a break here, I'd like to report out, some of us went down to the M.S.A.D conference at the end of October. Myself, Neil, Dr. Raymond was there, Roberta was there, Tim was there, Ron was there. Was that everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. Went to some interesting, and we tried to divvy it up a little bit so that we all went to some different aspects for the M.S.A.D conference. So it was another great showing, and I would certainly appreciate any board members that can go. It's usually the last week or second to last week in October. So keeping that in mind for next year, it's always a good idea. And it's a good thing to go down to for a couple days. If you can even go for half a day, it's well worth the trip to do it, because there's some good things that go on down there. So, except that Tim gets stuck in a meeting for several hours as our representative because we have a delegate going there, and the delegation meeting went for several hours. But it was definitely worth the meeting, and we got a lot of good information. And if anybody will be soon, I'm assuming the new website soon?
Yes.
We're gonna be going online with a new website based on conversation that was had with website designers down there. So that that'll come out and looking pretty good too. So does anybody have anything else they would like to discuss? Okay, so we're going to, basically, I'm gonna ask for an adjournment. We'll take a 10-minute recess, and then we are having a workshop here with legal. It is open, it's an open meeting, so regardless if you want to stay, you are more than welcome to stay, but if not, staff is dismissed. So I need a motion to adjourn for that part of it.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, moved by Katie, seconded by Neil. All those in favor? Okay, thank you. So now we're gonna move into 10-minute recess, and then we will have our workshop.